Hey guys, it's me Kate again. Sorry because of the mess in the background. I have a couple of other videos to film, so I just dragged everything here. So this video is all about my favorite books of the year. Of 2022. You would be surprised how many of these books I actually either don't own or don't own the physical book. Like for at least 3, I own ebook but not physical book. So the first book I have to talk about is Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb, which is in the last series, I think, in the realm of the Eldening. And in that one we're following, so in the realm of the Eldening, we're starting with the first Fitz trilogy, which is about which starts with when Fitz is at the age of 6, left by his maternal grandfather at the doorstep of the keep for his father, the crown prince, to raise. But when his father hears that his bastard son is coming, he abdicates the throne and goes to live in the countryside. And that leaves Fitz in the unfortunate position where he is raised mostly by the stable master Burek, up until the certain age when King starts to take interest in him and decides he would be a great royal assassin. And then we're following, we are tiptoeing between Fitz and the characters from the other side of the world. And in this one we're following Fitz when he's the old man. Then we have Flashfire by T.J. Klune. This is the second book in the Extraordinary series, in which we're following Nick, who is obsessed with the Extraordinaries, who are these people with powers, and they're like neither superheroes or supervillains. And Nick wants to become a superhero, and that puts him into a lot of weird situations. And I love these covers because they're reversible. And it really needs to buy the third one and read it. Then we have, on which pile is it here? The Ravens by Cass Morgan and Danielle Page. In this one we're following a sorority of girls who are witches, and their members start to disappear. And we're following them in the really weird stuff that's happening. Then we have Grayson's Maid by Tamsin Baker, which is a paranormal werewolf romance. And then we have Finding Finn by Kiki Borelli, which, as far as I remember, is the same thing like paranormal werewolf romance. Then we have Fool's Quest and Assassin's Fate, which are sequels to Fool's Assassin. Then we have Bellamy and the Brute, which is a romance by Alicia Michaels, which is Beauty and the Beast retelling romance. Then we have Zombie Ahead by Zia Laura, which is all about the zombie apocalypse. Then we have Wormstorm by Victoria Aveyard. So this is 4th book in the Red Queen series, in which we're following Mara, who is a red. And in this world, the reds do not have powers and silvers do. And one day, while Mara is doing her job, she finds out that she does actually have powers, which leads her into this political plot line, and stuff goes from there. It's surprised that all books by the first one in the series end up on my favorites list. I didn't really like the first one. Then we have this one. The Hero of Age is by Brandon Sanderson. This is 3rd and final book in the first era, Mistborn, which is all about this band of people who are all alimentors, who are these people who can ingest metals, and depending on which metal they can ingest, they can get a certain power. And their leader is Kelsier, who is a Mistborn who finds a girl named Avin, who is Mistborn like him, and takes her in. And Mistborns are people who can ingest all the metals and get all the powers. And they are planning to overthrow the final empire, which is this empire which is for 1,000 years ruled by a Dark Lord. Then I'll quickly go through the books that are favorites, but I own ebooks for. First we have Absolution, Raising Kain, and Resurrection, I think. Yes, Resurrection by Lisa Casey, which are all pillars of magic, are all in the Pillars of Magic series, and I really enjoy it. We're following a guy who is a Earth Witch, but because he's a guy, he is looked upon, but he ends up being the most powerful Earth Witch there is. Then we have Witch Wolf and Witch Curse, which are the second novella and fourth full-length novel in Kitsune Chronicles, in which we are starting by following Sebastian, who is a Kitsune, which is a Japanese nine-tailed fox spirit with elemental magic, and something happened to him a year ago, and now he's on the run ever since then. At the beginning of the first book, he bumps into an alpha werewolf named Liam, who actually saved him a year ago. And in Witch Wolf and Witch Curse, we are following Toby, who is one of the members of Liam's pack. And then we have Heartstopper Volume 4 by Alice Oseman, which is fourth and second to last installment in a Heartstopper series, and which are following Nick and Charlie, who start as friends and form a relationship. And we have Mooncakes by Aisha Bashabi, which is a graphic novel following a witch and a werewolf, I think. And our werewolf character is non-binary, and which has two grandmas who are married. Then we have If This Gets Out by Sophie Gonzalez and Kale Baitish, I think, which is male contemporary YA romance, if I remember correctly. Then we have Can't Take That Away, which is also some kind of romance, if I remember correctly. We have Alpha Sun by Penny Chesov, which is YA paranormal romance between Son of Alpha Werewolf and I think a local witch. I don't remember exactly who the other character is in the story. And then we have Fall of the Argosy by Sebastian de Castell. In this is his second book in a prequel series to Spellslinger series, in which we're following Kellen, who is just about to take his magic shower, but his magic starts failing, so he decides to cheat. And in this prequel series, you're following his mentor, Fierce Parafax. Then we have Dark Eyes by C.S. Packet. In this one, you're following Will, who is working on London Dogs up until one day when he meets a group of people who are trying to prevent the Dark King from rising up again. It's really interesting. I forgot one, but I opened it. And that's Aurora's End by Amy Kaufman and Jake Christoph, which is third book in the Aurora Cycle series, in which are following Squad 312, which is basically a band of misfits who have to save the galaxy, all because their squad leader, the star pupil of their academy, Tyler Jones, was late for his graduation ceremony, and instead of picking best from the best, he ends up with the bottom of the barrel, all because he was saving a girl named Aurora. And then we have Carry On by Rainbow Rowell. So this is the first book in Carry On series in which are following Simon Snow, who is literally says the worst, Simon Snow is the worst chosen one who's ever been chosen. And he's in his last year of this magical school, which he has been considering his home ever since his first year there. But when his roommate, who is star pupil in their school, doesn't show up for first day of class, Simon becomes suspicious. And then we have Wayward Son by Rainbow Rowell, which is equal to Carry On, in which we are following our characters as they go on a road trip across the US. And anyway, The Wind Blows by Rainbow Rowell, in which we're following our main characters as they're trying to live their normal lives, but not everything goes as planned, obviously. Then we have Love Boat Reunion by Abigail Hen Gwen, which is companion and the sequel to Love Boat Taipei, and we're following Ella Wong, whose parents who wants to be a dancer, but her parents want her to become a doctor, so they send her away to educational program in Taiwan, which ends up being a summer-long party. And in this one, we're following her friend Sophie, who goes back to Taiwan for a school project, and they do a little reunion. Then we have, where the hell is it? This book is somewhere on those piles behind me. And that's Amari and the Night Brothers by B.B. Wilson, which are following Amari, whose brother has been missing and for a little bit, and she's basically the only one who remains that believes he's still alive. And one day, while going through his closet, she finds a briefcase with invitation for her to go to the Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, and she decides to take the opportunity to find out what's happening with her brother. Then we have Precious Plage, Paulina by Sanya Polaka, which is a new book. This has been published, I think, yes, last year. So in the newest installment in Paulina series, in which are following basically Paulina who tells her story in diary format. Then we have Here's to Us by Becky Albertelli and Adam Silvera. This is the sequel to What If It's Us by the same authors, in which are following Arthur and Ben, who meet at the New York post office and then go on to a series of disastrous dates. Then we have literally the longest book on this list, and that's Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. These are UK paperbacks which are split in two parts. So I'll just hold up the part one. So and this is fourth book in Stormlight Archive, in which are following this war between Alethi and the Parshendi, which started when Parshendi killed Alethi King during the peace talks of all things. And now they're only fighting for these shard blades and shard plates, which are these swords and shields which grant their wearer powers. Then we have So This Is Ever After by F.T. Lukens, in which are following, basically it starts with our main characters killing the Dark Lord, and then we're following what happens after in that said happily ever after. It's ridiculous, to say the least. Then we have The River of Silver by S.A. Chakraborty, which is a group of like scenes that didn't end up in the Devabad trilogy, but she compiled them into one book. So then we have all installments in the same series, so I'll just be mentioning them together because they're novellas and they're just adding story when the last one has ended. We have Fugitive Telemetry, Rogue Protocol, Artificial Conditions, Exit Strategy, and Network Effect by Martha Wells, all in Murderboard Diaries, in which are following Murderbot, who is a sec unit, and their job is they're like cyborg, part mostly robot but part human, and they need to protect the humans on their missions, but they actually hacked their government module, which tells them what to do, and only wants to be in their bank and watch TV shows. They're ridiculous but fun. Then we have the sequel to one of my most disappointing books of last year, even though I gave that book 4 out of 5 stars, and that's House of Sky and Bread by Sarah J. Maas. I really enjoy this book because one of my complaints about the first book is that I wanted more of main characters brother. So we started the series by following Bryce, who is half fake, half human, and her best friend has been murdered 2 years ago. And now somebody is committing murders really similar to the murder of her best friend. But the thing is, the presumed killer has been in jail ever since then. And it's still in jail. There's no way that person is committing the murders. So the Archangel, who is like a governor of the city, asks Bryce to help them investigate because she has a personal connection to the original murders, and gives her an fallen angel named Hunt for protection. This, of course, that thing is resolved in the first book, but this book, I love it. I know that some people don't like that there is so many male point of views in this book, but I actually find it refreshing. I find Hunt and Bryce being so. First book is just point of view of Hunt and Bryce, and after some time, it became boring reading from just their perspective. So I really enjoyed seeing some of the other characters who I want to be explored more in the first book. Then we have again three books in the same series. We have Dark King, Fallen King, and Rising Queen by S.N. Crawford, which is all in this romance. I don't remember if it's fantasy or paranormal romance series, but I listened to all of them on audiobook, and we're following basically a girl who has been a princess of this island nation of, I think, Fae. And her island has been sunk by someone. She doesn't know who. Everybody else who were connected to the island think it was her, but it wasn't her because she was really powerful. And basically now she's working as in England, I think London, and providing services to women who want to get rid of men in their lives, and is taking her to this human girl. But somehow people fake have found her and want to kill her, which ends up with her being on a run from them. And we have Playing for the Win by Robbie Koch, I think. So in this one we're following Blaine, who is a boyfriend, who is this really rich guy, breaks up with him in this really prestigious restaurant in town, when Blaine thinks he's going to ask him to go to their annual family vacation and to want someone more serious, which ends up with Blaine running for class president in his senior, when he's a senior. It's hilarious, and I'm not completely sure, but I think it's Legally Blonde retelling. Then we have Alley of Law by Brandon Sanderson, which is the first book in the second era Mistborn. So in this one we're following several hundred years after the end of first era Mistborn, and we are following the world where people, where there are guns and bullets, so the metals, the bullets are made of metals, which people can ingest, and it's hilarious. Then we have The Dragon and the Queen by Caitlin Davis. I don't know if you remember, but I read The Raven and the Dove last year, I think. I actually listened to it on the audiobook, and it's so this year is Tristan and Isolde, the retelling, in which we are following basically every so many years, I don't remember. There is this ceremony where people find mates, and there are normal people in the normal world, and we're following people who live on these islands in the sky, and they have wings. It's really hard to explain. I don't remember much of the first book anymore, but we're following our main character, who was finding her mate, and because there are two brothers who are really similar, and one is heir to the throne and the other one isn't, and to prevent the heir from the throne, to the throne from dying, they sent her his brother instead, and it's really funny, considering she's actually supposed to marry his brother, not him, but it's ridiculous. Then I listened to and then we have Dark Tempest and Immortal Fire by Annette Marievich, her second and third book in... I don't remember the name of the first book or series name, but we start by following our main character, who is supposed to be a vessel for a goddess, but she meets a kitsune, and turns out that becoming a vessel from the goddess isn't all it seemed to be, so she runs away. It's ridiculous again. So that's it for this video. If you like, please like, share and subscribe. Down below my social media, my email and some other stuff, and I'll see you in the next one.